Okay, so American Hustle nominated for Best Comedy at this year's Golden Globes. I disagree with it. This film gets nominated for Best Comedy at this year's Golden Globes. I completely agree with it. Hey there guys, what's up? It's AutoBotMike18 here with another movie review. Guys, in this video, I will be reviewing the much highly anticipated new Martin Scorsese film, The Wolf of Wall Street. Now guys, don't get me wrong, I was definitely looking forward to going to see The Wolf of Wall Street. However, a few things that I was hearing about in the news regarding the film, I was definitely starting to get a little, hesitant about. I was like, I don't know about this movie. I'm hearing not the best things about it. First off, the film was supposed to come out November 15th, got pushed back till Christmas Day, a little unfortunate. The movie was, they were debating whether to rate it R or NC-17. They had problems with the editing, and, the first cut of the film was almost 4 hours long. They had to cut it down to 3 hours. It's official running time right now. And, I was like, I know it's gonna be good, but I hope it is good. But you know what? Why would I ever doubt Scorsese or this cast or even the guy who wrote the screenplay? And another thing I just wanted to throw out there, guys. My top 10 best list, the best films of the year, my top 10 favorite movies of the year. That video will be coming out soon, guys. I held off making that list and uploading that video because I was waiting for this movie to come out, because I was still pretty sure this movie was going to crack my top 10 list. And after watching it, guys, without a doubt, The Wolf of Wall Street is going on my top 10 list. That's why I haven't given it to you guys yet. So stay tuned, this movie's going to be on that list when I release it to you. So guys, that's right, The Wolf of Wall Street is utterly fantastic. It is one of the best films I've seen all year. It's not only one of the best films I've seen all year, it's also probably one of the most entertaining theater experiences I had all year. It's one of the most captivating and engaging movies I have seen all year, and it's that film I just can't stop thinking about since I've seen it a few hours ago, and I loved almost every single thing about this near-flawless film, and it is one of Scorsese's best that I've seen out of all the Scorsese movies I have seen. So anyway, guys, moving on. I can't wait to talk about everything I got to talk about in this beast of a movie. First thing I want to start talking about is the screenplay. Now, the screenplay is an adapted screenplay. It's based off the book. This film is based on true events, but it's based off the book by Jordan Belfort himself. Now, Jordan Belfort is the main character in this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio, who is back in another Scorsese film, he stars as Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. Now, in the beginning of this movie, Leo DiCaprio's character, he's like 20-something years old. It's like the late 1980s, and he goes to work on Wall Street. At this point, he meets Matthew McConaughey's character. He begins to learn, the inner workings of Wall Street, how to strive on Wall Street, how to become a successful stockbroker, and how to get people to invest, and buy shares or whatever. And eventually DiCaprio becomes, an official stockbroker, and he wants to create his own investing firm. So he hires several stockbrokers. One of them is Jonah Hill, who just approaches him at a diner and is like, hey, can I work for you? I'll quit my job, I'll work for you. So the two of them, and they hire they get all these guys together, and they have this one investing firm put together, made up of like 20 guys. Over time, it grows and grows into this gigantic company filled with a whole bunch of stockbrokers. And soon, before they know it, they are making millions and millions of dollars a week. Or maybe a few million a week. And they're getting all these investors, to invest in this company, and they're making more money than they ever dreamed of. And the FBI starts to get a little suspicious when this company starts to, really, get traction and starts to get popularity. It starts to get really popular. And of course, the reason why the FBI is starting to get suspicious, and the reason why they're making so much money, is because they're using illegal measures to get that much money. They're getting involved in fraudulent cases. They're doing some deceitful things, to make all this money. They're, getting their investors to invest more money into the company so they make more commission off of it. And this is how they're making millions of dollars. And DiCaprio starts to fall into that really wealthy, rich lifestyle, and he starts to spiral down a really bad path. And That is one thing I absolutely loved about The Wolf of Wall Street. How I saw the transformation of his character from the beginning of the movie, where he's just starting off on Wall Street, to the very end of the movie, and the really messed up things he does in the end of the movie. That's one thing I absolutely loved about The Wolf of Wall Street. Now, guys, going into this movie, I was not only hesitant because of the thing about the film's length and how it was pushed back or whatever. I was also hesitant because the movie is set. It involves the stock market and stocks and economics, and I still to this day don't really get all that stuff. It just never, not only phased me, but I just never really understood all of that. But do not be afraid. You can go into this movie not knowing a thing about stocks. You're still going to enjoy it. I feared this movie was going to be, one, confusing, and two, boring because of its involved. It was involved with stocks and corporations and shares and all that. It's not. It is the complete opposite of boring. It's the complete opposite of confusing. I understood everything that was going on in this film. I was captivated in this film. I was never bored once in this 3-hour film. And without a doubt, the reason being is 3 reasons. 3 things I absolutely love about this film. 1, Martin Scorsese as director. 2, the guy who wrote the screenplay, Terrence Winter. And 3, this phenomenal cast with Leonardo DiCaprio at the head. And that's the next thing I'm going to talk about, is the cast in this film. Leonardo DiCaprio stars, as I said, Jordan Belfort, and DiCaprio is, what can I say, he's one of the best actors we have working today in Hollywood. He's also one of the most overlooked actors to get an Oscar. He has never won an Oscar. People are up in arms about that. They want him to win it for this one. Here's the answer to the question everyone's asking. Is he worthy? Should he get nominated for this role? And I say, absolutely. DiCaprio is just magnificent in this role. You know what? I'm going to make a bold statement right here. I've seen DiCaprio in a lot of good movies. I haven't seen all of his good movies. But this is without a doubt one of the best performances I've ever seen him give. If not, it is the best I've ever seen him give. I mean, just... It also involves the writing on how his character was written, but the way he portrays this really, vile character. I mean, in the beginning of the movie, when the movie first starts, I support his character in the beginning. I wanted to see him go through this transition. I wanted to see him go through that rich lifestyle, hit that state where, he starts making some bad decisions and, he does some dirty things. But, I mean, when that part happens and when he starts doing these vile things, his character, I started to hate him. I went from supporting and rooting for him to hating him, but still loving him because it's DiCaprio. And then the third act of the movie, I was like, nope, I'm done. DiCaprio, go to jail. I'm done with you. Just go to jail. You deserve it, man. I mean, I hated him by the end of this film. Oh, man. He does some really messed up things in this movie, and that's because DiCaprio's this good. He is without a doubt Oscar-worthy in this film. If he gets snubbed for this movie, I'm going to be really upset. Mark my words, I'm going to be really upset. He deserves a nomination, without a doubt. Maybe even the win. I mean, he's phenomenal. One of the best performances of the year goes to Leonardo DiCaprio. Moving on, guys, the rest of the cast is really good here as well. We have Jonah Hill, who can star in a crappy comedy. He could star in a really good comedy like This Is the End or Superbad. And then he could go to a Scorsese film. He could work for Scorsese and give an extraordinary performance in this film as one of the stockbrokers. He works close with DiCaprio's character. Jonah Hill was brilliant in this film. He gave a really good performance. Who else? Matthew McConaughey. I was really upset with his character and the fact that he was only in the film for 2 scenes. He was good in his scenes. Of course, it's McConaughey, but I was upset he was only in for 2 scenes. I really wanted to see more of him because McConaughey's just so good nowadays. But yeah, that was disappointing. Also, Rob Reiner is also in the film. He was good in his scenes. Kyle Chandler was good. Margot Robbie, who plays DiCaprio's wife, was really good in the movie as well. And also, John Bernthal was pretty good in the movie. And I'm really happy he's making a place for himself in Hollywood because, he's been on The Walking Dead. I liked him in that. And he was good in this movie. So the whole cast, the cast as a whole, guys, they're excellent. There are also a couple cameos you might recognize from some other movies. But the cast was great. They really were. And DiCaprio at the head, I mean, just DiCaprio and Scorsese, that's a really good combination right there. So anyway, guys, moving on. Apart from the magnificent cast, superb cast, I have got to talk about this film's rating. The Wolf of Wall Street is rated R, and the reason why I'm going to bring up the rating is because they were contemplating giving this film an NC-17 rating. And at first I said, Why? Why would you contemplate that? It doesn't look like it needs to have an NC-17 rating. After watching this movie, I probably would have given it an NC-17 rating. This is one of the most vulgar films I've seen all year in terms of its content and the dialogue and what you're watching on screen. It has excessive amounts of bad language, extreme, explicit sexual content and graphic nudity in this movie, and excessive drug overdose and excessive use of drugs in this film. I mean, they really went pretty far in this movie. This is a very over-the-top, vulgar film, and I'm not complaining about that at all. I actually like that about the movie. I think that added more to my enjoyment of the film, and that's one thing I love about The Wolf of Wall Street. Alright guys, moving on. It's time for me to give my rating for The Wolf of Wall Street. I thought hard about this, as I was watching the movie. It just got better and better as I was watching it. As I finished watching it, I said, I gotta go high with this one. I'm not gonna go all the way, but I am gonna go 9.5 out of 10 for The Wolf of Wall Street. I couldn't get it up to 10. I'm like right under 10. I'm like right there, almost like 9.75. But I'm gonna go 9.5 out of 10. This is one of my favorite films of the year in that it is so engaging, so captivating, not boring in the slightest, despite its 3-hour runtime, and it is so funny, which I'll get to in a second with the screenplay. But as I said, the three things I loved: Scorsese, the screenplay, the cast. Starting off with Scorsese, you know what? The day this guy retires, I'm going to be so upset. He's such a great director. Even though I haven't seen all of his films, I still love what he can do behind the camera. And as I was watching this movie, I was so blown away by what was going on. I was forgetting that Scorsese was directing this. So as I stopped and thought for a second, I'm like, oh yeah! This is why this movie's so good. It's because Scorsese's directing it. I mean, he's just so good behind the camera. We all know that. I mean, he gives another excellent directorial job with The Wolf of Wall Street. Good job, Scorsese. One of the best directions of the year. I would probably nominate you for Best Director at the Oscars. The cast was also phenomenal as well, guys. As I said, DiCaprio, Oscar-worthy, without a doubt, hands down. I want to see him nominated. One of the best performances of the year. I loved his character. I love how this movie is about the transformation of that character into this really, really bad position. And that's one thing I loved about the screenplay, which I'll get into. The supporting cast was excellent. As for the screenplay, Terrence Winter wrote this screenplay. I don't know what else he's done in the past, but this screenplay is phenomenal. It is based off the book. It's without a doubt the best adapted screenplay of the year, in my opinion. 12 Years a Slave, excellent. Captain Phillips, great. Wolf of Wall Street, the best adapted screenplay of the year. Out of all the films I've seen, this is the best adapted screenplay of the year. The dialogue between these characters is just so, it's real, it's definitely genuine, it's vulgar, it's over the top. I loved it, and so many scenes. And another thing about the screenplay, this is one of the most funniest movies I've seen all year. I'm gonna be honest. I had so much fun watching this movie because it was so freaking hilarious. The comedy was great in the movie. I was laughing in several scenes. If This Is the End had not come out this year, this would have been the funniest movie I had seen all year. It was just so hilarious, and that's what I love about the screenplay. As I said, I love with the story, the transformation of Jordan Belfort himself. I think they depicted it accurately. I've just read up about Jordan Belfort a few minutes ago, and I learned a lot, and I think they depicted it accurately. Apart from the excellent screenplay, the film editing was great. This movie is 3 hours long, yet they can still captivate me. This film can captivate me from beginning to end, despite its 3-hour running time, and I gotta hand it to the editing. The pacing was definitely fast, in my opinion. This movie did not feel slow at all. I did not get bored. My eyes were glued onto the screen, except for a few times when I had to check my watch just to see how much more of the movie we had left. I was completely captivated in this film. I got a hand to the film editing. The soundtrack was great. I love how this film is set in New York City. I'm a sucker for films set in New York City. What can I say? Long Island. I'm a fan of it. And finally, guys, the other thing that I absolutely love about this movie, the great message that I know the film is trying to depict, it's that message of what happens to you when you go too far and you go really far in that wealthy lifestyle. I mean, we all crave to be wealthy. We all crave to have millions of dollars. I mean, let's face it, we all do. But there's a point where you can go too far, and that's what happens to DiCaprio's character in this film. With all the drugs, all the money, all the sex, all of his interactions with these women, and you know, all of that. It shows how greedy you can be. I love the movie's message about greed and the negative side of the wealthy lifestyle, and that's one thing I loved about the movie. That, along with the character of Jordan Belfort, I loved all that with the film. So guys, that's really all I have to say. As for complaints, if I had to complain about one thing about the movie, it is the 3-hour running time. Because let's face it, I don't like to complain about a movie's running time. I don't. But when you have a movie that goes over about 2.5 hours, for me, a little too long. They could have cut out a scene or two, in my opinion. Other than that, the 3-hour running time didn't bother me. That's just a minor complaint I have. If it was 2.5 hours, if they cut out a couple of things, this movie would have been perfect for me. Other than that, I'm giving The Wolf of Wall Street 9.5 out of 10. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. It's one of the most engaging, captivating movie theater experiences I had all year. Well directed, well written, extremely superbly well acted, and well edited, and great message about that rich lifestyle and what happens to you when you go too far down that path. That's everything I loved about The Wolf of Wall Street. So 9.5 out of 10, guys. I want to know what you guys thought of this movie. It is fantastic. I'm so glad I waited for my top 10 list, which I'll be giving to you guys shortly. That's coming up very soon. Other than that, what you guys think of The Wolf of Wall Street? Let me know down below in the comments. If you guys liked it, let me know. And let me know if it's on your top 10 of the year. Also, guys, stay tuned for my movie review of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And, of course, my top 10 best list of the best movies of the year. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the movie. Hope you guys enjoyed my review. Bye, guys.